Right, this is Algebra 1B, Part 1, Unit 4, Lesson 4, Solving Linear Equations. We're going to utilize a number of strategies and procedures to solve equations. I'm going to start with very simple equations and work our way up from there. But we're going to hit on some of the highlights. This is by no means exhaustive. One of the things we want to use is the inverse rule. That is, you can undo or get rid of operations by doing the opposite or inverse operation. The inverse of adding is subtracting. The inverse of subtracting is adding. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. The inverse of dividing is multiplying. And also keeping balance. Anything you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. And we use these principles to solve one-step equations, as in these four cases. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. So we get x equals 2. The opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. Add 4 to both sides. We get x equals 12. The opposite of times 9 is divide 9. So divide 9 on both sides. The answer is x equals 5. The opposite of divide 3 is multiply 3, so multiply both sides by 3. X equals 24. Okay, so we can find the solution sets with all of these. Don't forget set notation. You can indicate a solution as x equals 2 or the solution set 2 in curly braces. Okay, those are the simple cases. Hopefully those are our review. What about this particular one here? The lesson made a big deal out of revealing that there are multiple paths to solutions. In this case, they noted that there's a 4 outside of parentheses, and our first inclination, you probably were taught, was to distribute. Okay, but that is not always the very first thing that is done, or there can be more than one way to do it. I'm going to do the distributing method first. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 8 equals 12 plus 4x. Okay, combine like terms, negative 24 and 8, so 4x minus 16 equals 12 plus 4x. Okay, and here is one problem that I've got that I didn't anticipate. Then we're going to end up with no solution. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to 8x, if you don't mind, just so it works out different here. So 8x, okay, 8x, okay. Okay. And when I see a problem like this with x on both sides of the equations, I like to ask myself which is smaller. The smaller one is 4x, so I'm going to deduct or take away 4x from both sides. And I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. Notice keeping balance, it's doing the same thing to both sides. 4x minus 4x is nothing. Negative 16 and negative 12 is negative 28. Negative 12 and 12 is 0. 8x minus 4x is 4x. And divide by 4, opposite of multiply is divide. And we get x equals negative 7. Or the solution set is negative 7 in curly braces. Okay, let me show you the other way that you could possibly do this here. 4 times the quantity x minus 6 plus 8 equals 12 plus 8x. They said you could divide both sides by 4 to get rid of the 4 times the parentheses. One of the things that people run into with this step, though, and this is why I actually don't recommend this. I don't recommend it for 2 reasons, but this is the first of them, is that you've got to remember to divide the whole side by 4. So in this case, 4 divided by 4 cancels out, but the 4 gets divided into 8 as well. So we divide the 4 by 4 and we divide the 8 by 4. So we end up with actually x plus 6 or x minus 6 plus 2. and then distribute the 4 division. 12 divided by 4 is 3, plus 8x is 8 divided by 4 is 2x. And now we can simplify by combining like terms. X minus 4 equals 3 plus 2x. I'm going to subtract x from both sides and subtract 3, keeping it balanced. X minus x is 0, negative 4, negative 3. I was thinking ahead to the solution. It's negative 7. And 3 minus 3 is 0, 2x minus 1x is x. Notice that we accomplished the problem in fewer steps, but it's a little more confusing. The other thing that is the other reason I don't recommend this particular method in this problem is it only worked because all the numbers were divisible by 4. If this had been 9, or if this 12 had been a 5, then we'd end up with fractions. And fractions are no fun and really rather complex. But the point being that there's multiple ways. So when it comes down to it, I recommend distributing as your go-to method for solving this problem. Okay. All right. So what about this one? 2/3 x plus 6 equals 1 over 6 x minus 5. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of a hybrid method here just to reduce confusion. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 1/6 because that's a relatively simple task. All right. And I get 2/3 x plus 6 equals 1/6 x minus 5/6. But now, rather than keeping fractions, I could do this with fraction arithmetic all the way through, but rather than do that, I'm going to eliminate or get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the least common denominator. I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. I know that one denominator is 3, another denominator is 6, but 3 is a factor of 6. 3 goes into 6 evenly. So 6 is the least common denominator. And distribute the 6 to every term inside. Distribute the 6 to every term inside. And 6 times 2/3, let's do a little scratch work up here. 6 times 2/3. We can multiply straight across. 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 3 is 4. Or you could do a little cross canceling. 2 times 2 is 4. Either way. So we get 4x. And 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1/6, 6 times 1/6 is just 6 over 6, which is 1. So 1x. 6 times 5/6. 6's cancel, or you can do 30 divided by 6, which is 5. Either way you think of it is fine. And note, by multiplying by the least common denominator, I have gotten rid of all the fractions. Right? And so now we can answer the question, what's smaller, 1x or 4x? 1x is smaller, so I'm going to take away 1x from both sides and subtract 36. 4x minus 1x is 3x. 36 minus 36 is 0. 1x minus 1x is 0. Negative 5 and negative 36 is negative 41. Okay, we're almost done. Divide both sides by 3. And x is negative. 3 goes in once. 3 goes into 11. 11 three times with 2 left over. You could say negative 41/3 or negative 13 2/3. Either one is fine. Actually, I probably prefer the improper fraction. Okay. All right, so that is it. Note that there are some rather complex set of steps, but they all involve using the principles of solving equations, undoing to get rid of things, distributing to eliminate parentheses, regrouping or combining like terms, and getting rid of an extra x on either side by undoing or subtracting it out. All right.